Hi there, this is Callie, also known as Captain Calico, owner of Dreadnoughty. I wanted to do an install video for you today, demonstrating a quick and easy updo style that I use regularly. Disclaimer, I am really lazy when it comes to doing my own hair, so these are kind of the quick shortcuts that I use to get a lot of look and flavor without too much effort. This isn't necessarily great for a long-term install, but if you are a cosplayer or a LARPer and want something, you know, simple and effective, then this is a video for you. The parts that you're going to need to achieve a similar look are these double-ended combo dread on one side, braid on the other. They're just called Viking dreads in our shop. You can custom order them in any color that you can imagine. They come extra long, 2 foot to 3 foot by standard, but you can specify the length. These ones I have done in wispy ended, but you can have them regular or blunted or however you like. And then you will also, I'm going to use just a little accent braid. This is one of our fancy fishtails with the beads. And these are, I just made a new listing to add clips onto any listing that you want. There are bulk pricing available to get the weft clips for, I believe, like the braid and the micro dreads. But now you can get them added onto any other ones that you want. That little listing add-on. And then I also made this clip. This isn't something we have regularly available, but I made this for myself, and I might be offering something similar, just with the same color hair. I made a messy fishtail that I'm going to demonstrate in the updo to just kind of add more bulk and, you know, act as an extension. So, without further ado, I'm probably going to speed through some parts to make this not so long of a video, but all in all, this technique doesn't take too long to do. It's just a little tedious on the fishtail braiding, but thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you find this interesting or helpful. First thing I'm going to do, since this is a faux hawk, I'm going to take a section on the top. I used to actually have a mohawk, but I found it to be too high maintenance, but I miss it sometimes, and so this is a quick way to get kind of the same overall silhouette without having to shave the sides all the time. So I'm not going to do a very clean job of this sectioning because it's not going to matter too much in the end. Something like that. And then you can clip back the rest of your hair if that makes it easier to work. So all the way down to the front, I'm kind of pulling it towards the front to get a little more of a bump towards the front, and then it's going to angle towards the back. So split in 2 sections to start the fishtail braid. You can do this with 3-strand as well, which is obviously a lot faster, but I find that the look and the distribution is a bit better when you do the fishtail. So you're going to have 2 sections, and you're going to be taking small sections off of the edge. I'm wrapping around towards the front because that's what feels intuitive to me when I'm braiding on myself. And you're just going to, this is also called a rib cage braid. Just taking small sections. You can take larger ones if you want to go faster. Just the more that you do, the more detail that you're going to have, the more messy and organic it's going to look. And I'm not keeping it super tight. You want to leave a little bit of slack at this point. So just don't pull it tight, just kind of let it go where it's going to go. Also for this install you're going to want to have some bobby pins. I didn't mention that before. and some little elastics or rubber bands make it a lot easier. We do have those available for sale in the shop as well. And for the install of the dreads, you don't necessarily need a latch hook for double-ended dreads, but I like to use one. A braid or a bead loop rather will have a similar effect. There's different types of hooks that'll do the same thing. So no need to go out and get one special, but we do have them available if you want to add them onto your order. They're quite reasonable. So I'm actually not going to go all the way down, and you'll see why in a minute. I'm kind of just going to where the ombre effect is transitioning in my hair, where it starts to become much more orange. And once I get down to about there and leave a few inches of slack, I'm going to tie it off with one of the little elastics, but not super tight. Just going to go 3 times. And then starting from the bottom of the fishtail, I'm going to start just pulling individual loops. You can grab onto where you've tied off to give yourself a little leverage, but you're just going to kind of work your way up, making some slack at the bottom and then pulling through. You don't want it to be too loose right here up at the top because it'll make it kind of messy. But here you can see it's just getting more and more rib cagey as I selectively loosen some of the loops. There's no wrong way to do this. The goal is to look kind of wild, so do it as much or as little as you would like. And this is going to serve the purpose of creating a lot of volume for us. And there's other type of faux hawk updos that do this by backcombing, but I find this is a lot easier. The hair causes less damage and is easier to get out. So once you've got it pretty roughed up, you're going to flip it back and kind of see which way it's starting to lean. I'm going to go ahead and start on this side, and you're just going to bobby pin it to death, basically. Don't be afraid to use a ton of them to make sure it's nice and secure. Just pin it in places where you feel like you want to start building up some foundation. And then you're going to be kind of zigzagging, pulling it across, finding another little hold. And if it's not perfect at this point, don't worry about it. We're gonna mess with it a lot. Try to pin in different directions and try to keep them from intersecting one another, because that can be kind of annoying when you're sticking it through and it's bumping into another one. And then once you reach the end here, I like to make it a little extra secure by going straight through the elastic with the bobby pin. And kind of pulling the whole thing, cinching it together. You'll be able to tuck the end of that in later. So, as you can see, the front is kind of not quite how I would want. So I'm going to take this loose bit here and reinforce. And as you build it up, you may find that some of these are not really that helpful, and so you can remove them and replace them with a better position. If they're showing too much, And as you're going along, you can also pull the loops into better configurations. Just mess with it. Depending on your preference, you may be going for more vertical height, or you may be going for more overall bulk. So just tug the loops accordingly. And this side is still really loose, so I'm going to try to grab this loopy bit in the middle, get the bobby pin over a good chunk of it, and then just tuck it in. Here we go. Nice. These are kind of overlapping, so I'm going to take one out and reposition. And you can use additional product or hairspray if you want to get hold that way. But I prefer the nice manual, mechanical connection. It's nice and secure. Okay, so once you've got the top kind of looking how you would like, and I'm going to move on and do a whole other one. I'm going to leave some hair out at the bottom because I want just the whole thing, and I also want to leave ample hair underneath to do my double-ended install into. So I'm going to take like half again, or you can think of it like thirds. Now, normally I would want to avoid having too much hair around the back of my neck if I'm doing a festival or LARPing, because it's sweaty and uncomfortable. So you might want to do it more so that it is bringing all of the hair up and piling it on top of your head. But for today, I'm going to do the whole thing. So for this section, because I do have this extension that I've made, I'm going to go ahead and just take a regular hair elastic and tie it off, because this will make it easier for me to keep it taut. You can potentially remove that afterward, or just use a clip or something else if you want that to be temporary, but I think I'm probably just going to leave it in. So, pull this hair to the side. And this is a little less awkward of a position than hanging straight out of your face to do the fishtail braid, but it's the same procedure. Just going to be taking two big sections and then taking tiny portions off of each side and wrapping around, trading off. Sorry if I'm not explaining that in very good detail. I'm sure there are people who have done better videos about that exact style. And you could do this with a 4-strand as well. I'm sure you could get a more rounded tubular effect if you did that. This is also a really good way to do it, using more clips and pins rather than spray if you're going to be in a situation doing anything with fire, or you don't want to have that spray hold fail at some point in the day. So same thing, as I get to the end. Making sure I'm leaving some slack so that when I go through and pull, I have plenty. Now I have absolutely straight hair. So this may not be as necessary for you if you already have curly hair. You can probably just create a similar effect using the bobby pins if you would prefer. There we go. Same thing. And I'm actually going to gauge where this is falling already. Yeah, I think I'm going to apply this first. I have the tail from the other one kind of sticking in already. I'm going to take that out so I can kind of tuck it in more intentionally. Apply my clip right here at the rounding part, the head. Kind of pull the whole thing back into it. And since it is on the clip, I can actually use part of it, the front portion, to just secure the back portion of where I left off. Like so. Nice height. Sorry, working in front of a mirror, trying to... use both the mirror and the camera. Okay. So trying to get my height uniform, or coordinated at least. And then I'm going to take the end of this and kind of leave it hanging off for now. Tighten up my ponytail and then start the coiling process on the bottom third. With my bobby pins. I actually use the end of the clip to start. I grab onto the start of the next section, and there, that's helped a lot. Much better. Obviously, if you have a friend or assistant to help you with the spotting of this when you get to the back of the head, that could be really helpful. I think this pin just doesn't want to. Let's get another one. So pretty much got the shape that I want, and now I'm just going to reinforce. And fluff. Take part of the top of the loop and cover the side of the clip a little bit better. And then I think I'm just going to let the tail hang off of the clip. You can also kind of take it and loop it around. But since I'm leaving the rest of my hair down, I don't think I need to. I'm not too concerned either with how much hardware is showing. If you would prefer more discretion on that, then just be mindful of your placement. There's also, I don't have any right now, but there's these really great bobby pins that are actually like helix, twisty, and you kind of twist them in, and those tend to be pretty strong and nearly invisible. I should get some. And I think we're pretty much there. This bottom is not sticking in very great. I did the thing again, sticking bobby pin directly through the elastic of the end of that braid, and it's not really wanting to stay. Let's try it again. You can also just let it hang down though, if you don't want the extra length on the loopy faux hawk. This side is sticking out more than the other, and I kind of want it to be more. Nice. Okay, I think I'm good on the top. I'm just going to fluff by pulling on the loops. But it feels pretty secure. So now we're going to go ahead with the dreads. You could tell me it's sort of even. Okay. So I do have a couple regular double-ended that I threw in here for good measure as well. I'm going to be using teeny tiny sections because this isn't for a long-term install, and I didn't leave as much hair available as I probably would have needed for all these, but we'll see. I'm going to start with the braid combo actually. You can see this has got a notch. So I'm going to split my teeny little section into two even teenier sections, place the notch between them, and cinch it up to the scalp. Face it the other way though. The dread out just for ease. And then I'm going to cinch it up and get this other hair out of the way. And I'm not going to do a blanket braid over the dread. I'm just going to, I'm not sure what this is called, but take the two sections, pull them around, and then crisscross. Pull them around and crisscross. And you don't need to do it down very far. Probably just about there. And I'm going to tie it off. This is not going to be too detectable in the grand scheme of things. I mean, if somebody is really coming up to you with a magnifying glass and trying to check if your dreads are real, then, well. So I'm actually just going to leave these ends out since I have so much of my own hair loose in this partial. You can also do a handy trick with a latch hook if you have one, which I'll just demonstrate. You can take a latch hook and stick it up. This is especially good for Sharpie thick dreads. But you just hook it in and go up through the middle. Cinch it on up. It's okay if it goes out in some places, it doesn't matter all that much. Get up to the point where you have done your tie off. Let it come out. Get the hooky part out. Just like that. And then take your hair that you're trying to hide and all the way in. So it's kind of got a protective sheath around the hair, and it's really not showing. You can only see the spot where you've got the elastic, and that's pretty easy to hide. And you can see if you get a good root color match, the crisscrossing that you've done is really not noticeable either. And then my own hair is just going to cover up a lot of that. And so I've got my dread and my braid, and that's one and done. So with the rest of them, I'm not going to do the pull through thing. Like I said, since so much of my hair is already loose in this install. You also have the option, since we've got such an elaborate updo going on, to take your double-ended and just feed it through some of the places where you've got loops, if you don't want to actually secure it in. Just feel a loop close to the scalp. That's maybe close to where you have a secure point with a bobby pin. And you can even put these in with bobby pins if you really wanted to. Just loop it over. And it's in. Easy. Cinch up tight. Got your two sections. Crisscross. And you're only doing this on the dreaded side, so you're not interrupting the braided side by having to braid over it. Double-ended tend to be faster to install. You need to usually use bigger sections, but of course twice the ends, twice the speed to get the same visual effect. A lot of people ask, you know, what's better, do single-ended or double-ended? It's not really a matter of better. It depends on if you're installing on yourself or if you have a helper. Of course, if you have a stylist or a friend who's willing to help, doing single-ended has more equal distribution and is helpful for, you know, longer-term installs. You can wear these dreads for up to about a month. Probably not much more than that, but that depends on your individual preference and your rate of hair growth, because what's going to happen is your own natural hair is going to grow out to the point where the dreads are no longer tight on the scalp, and it's going to be kind of cumbersome and uncomfortable. And you'll also have a buildup of all of the hair that you have shed throughout the course of that. And a lot of people get really shocked when they take out their first install and go, oh no, I'm experiencing hair loss, you know, all this hair is falling out. Like, no, that's not because of the dreads. That's actually how much you shed on a monthly basis. It's pretty amazing how much hair we produce. You just experience it when you have extensions in, because they're holding that hair in place. It's not all just getting brushed out or lost in the shower like it usually does. So it can be a little startling at first. But you want to, you know, once you take your dreads out after a long install period, give your scalp a nice break. You know, maybe do some deep cleaning. We used to sell Dread Bombs hair and scalp cleaners that had mostly sea salt and baking soda. I don't produce those anymore, but I believe Dreads UK makes some form of that. So very quick and easy. I'm going to just do one more on the side, I think. This section is covering. So I'm reaching back to what's kind of covered at the nape of my neck. Two sections, cinched up, crisscross, crisscross. Just kind of have it, you know, you can put your index finger between and just sort of twist. Also, if you're messaging about color match to get a root match to your hair, please do not tell me the dye name. You know, Manic Panic Blizzard Flurry or whatever. I don't know any of them. I don't know any of the dye colors, and that's not super helpful anyway, because the way the dye is interacting with your hair might be a little bit different than other people, depending on how much lighting you did beforehand and such. So the best thing to do is send me multiple photos in different lighting conditions if you want to get a really good match or custom blend to your hair. And another really safe thing to do if you have multiple tones is, you know, get a nice blended color for your dreads. It's going to look kind of highlighted, variegated, natural, and, you know, the odds of picking up on all of the colors that your natural hair has included is higher if you're getting, you know, variegated. If you're trying to get an exact match to a singular color, you know, it's not necessarily going to be as easy, although sometimes we do have just the right thing. But I say that because my color right now is a natural henna color, so there's not going to be a box equivalent or dye. This is just how it turns out when you put henna on my hair, so maybe you've got a similar color. We do have a couple sets in this gingery tone in stock right now if you're interested. So I'm going to move on to the other side. Like I said, I didn't really leave much to work with, so I'm not going to be using all of these pieces. I don't even know how many I made. I think like 10. So if you've not been to the new website already, please head over to dreadnaughtyhair.com, new URL. And we have a full list of colors and a cute little tool thing I made that you can mess around with. Some basic combinations of transitional. It's not perfect, but it's kind of fun. There's lots of other great information on there about custom options and great info in the FAQ. That one turned out a bit loose, so I'm just going to take it, put it up behind the other ones, and pin it. So that's enough on the bottom, and then I'm going to take my remaining pieces and find spots higher up. Maybe places where some bobby pins need adjustment. And just go through and tuck them in for some additional detail. And really just cross them through so they can lay in the middle of the mohawk and pin to secure. And anywhere you stick a pin, you can just kind of floof some of the loops, and there's bound to be something to cover it up. And one more up here on this side. You need to just do that. Okay. So this is waist length for me. I'm about 5'2", I think. And then the final, I think I'm going to do on this side. If there's any other spot you need to kind of cover up some of the joinery or just something that you think needs a little extra pizzazz, I'm going to just throw this one right up here. These weft clips can go in as little as 2 or 3 inches of hair. So even if you have short hair, you can get some cool looking extensions. And there you have it. The completed Viking faux hawk look. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. I will be taking more photos of the final look with the rest of my getup and posting those. But I hope you have an awesome rest of the day, and namaste.